Welcome to Breezin with Bierman, the podcast. Let me get this continued out there. This is, as always, what am I trying to say? A Princetonian Now Media Group production. As always, our job is to educate, entertain, and inform you, my people. You can find Breezin with the Bierman, the podcast at New Pod City, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbeam, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Stitcher, Amazon, and also on the Princeton Now Media Group and our Breezin with Bierman Facebook page and Instagram page.
You can also find it in Facebook jail.
Facebook's new name. No, the parent company of Facebook is now Meta. That's something he's trying to, Zuckerberg's feeling the heat and is trying to like take attention away in the news cycle.
That's why I'm seeing the memes.
Yes, right.
I had to explain to Adam the other day the Let's Go Brandon meme. Like the entire country apparently knew it, but for him.
You know, I have other things to do than just hang out on social media and Twitter all day and also espouse your kind
I believe you're making a social media show.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, but you know, I actually am doing other things too. And you've Fox, FAUX, white nationalism, should I say, elements to you, which I find disconcerting. But I don't try to cancel you.
Yeah, you have a hose up your ass.
I don't try to cancel you. I got one. Okay, yes. We are now starting because I went to New Pod City, which is the main anchor for my show, and they said that they want me to be a little more my old irreverent body, impulsive self. I don't know how that will manifest.
They wanted the stupider version of you.
Hopefully funny. Now, again, it helps when you do a show every day, and I can't do this every day. Actually, you do have a day job I won't discuss. So, but hopefully I could deliver in this 15, 20, 25 minute compelling, engaging banter. I'm getting a British accent as they speak. So it's 2.0. And
it helps if your listeners are deaf.
but one thing I want to discuss how I got here in the first place. You were at Princeton TV.
Well, let me tell you about the birds and the bees.
No, besides that, someone's half penis. I was at Princeton TV for the longest time, but that was like a mockumentary from hell. We had should I say, a founder, the runner, whatever you want to call him, the person, head of the board, the commissioner of the station had some control issues, probably from some childhood drama.
Yeah, but you had control over who you invited on the show. You can't, I mean, there was issues with the station, but when you had control and responsibility for the content.
And I did that. But I'm just saying, and also with ebb and flow, I'd get other. It wasn't just me, but I get hosts and other people to bring guests on with followers. We got higher ratings and more visibility. But we had a major media station in a town that's a focused town, a mini Manhattan, and no one knew about it. Again, and we had a director of the station who had some weird control issues.
Yeah, but you know what? You need to move on because
I'm telling you
TV stations have moved on.
I don't need your lecture.
This kind of thing.
I don't want to lecture.
I'm just telling you.
I am moving on.
Let go of it. Yeah.
I am. I'm telling the audience how I got here because I'm trying to update. Even though I should be well known, I'm trying to update the audience what led me to here.
Okay.
And everything.
Desperation.
Desperation, optimism based on sheer terror. That's true. But we had a station that had a great name, but a mockumentary of a director with a board that really didn't want to do anything.
I will say that it was a lesson in small organizations where people assume, well, big organizations are really messed up, and so let's do something small. And then you find out if you join a number of small local organizations that people are screwed up everywhere.
Well, yeah. As I said before, my grandfather always said, if you want to find alternative personalities, not always crazy positive, as I say, but crazy negative, join a nonprofit. Yeah, it still pisses me off that it was a waste of potential and my good looks and my great banter and the salon I brought to that. So here I come now to New Pod City, among other places in this podcast. And why are you here then? Because I think you do have the gift of banter. You do have the gift of the Renaissance in the sense that you could talk about many things with a quick wit and provide.
I can bullshit well with you because you set yourself up for a lot of jokes.
Thank you. So I have Kurt Tazelaar. Now, who is Kurt? What did I write today? And you can disagree with anything. He's a musicologist, an arborist, a humorist, a guitar player, a blogger, a Fox.
I don't do blogs.
Well, you kind of blog a lot on social media. I think you have some white national, angry white man tendencies, but nothing.
You're just saying that to try to get a reaction.
No, I just think no.
Oh, I'm to the right of Stalin, therefore.
No, but you're pissed as I am. I'm pissed off at some of the woke insanity that's going on.
Yeah.
You take it to her.
Then you call it white nationalism.
No, because you obsess about it.
No,
You talk about it all
it's
the
fun
time.
it's going on right now, and it's worth talking about. You're just trying to be
No, I'm not.
instigate.
I'm not instigating, fine,
yeah.
but I'm just saying facts. Occasionally you would say, like,
do I
what about a white male? Why
Look,
these people came here and they're getting all this, and I'm not getting all this. You had to know that.
Careful, I'm going to start making nose jokes at you.
Well, air is free, and I don't care. Anyway, my nose gets to work before I do. I don't know. So anyway, that leads us to what? So what are we going to talk about? First, I want to talk about trivia.
Okay.
I like trivia.
We'll set up. We as a group, when we have about 10 people, go to a trivia night at a local bar and we compete. Right. And we do fairly well.
No, one is, I think the level of competition is pretty high. Is that being in Princeton? I don't know, and everything, because we usually sometimes we get all 10 right, and the categories is history, general knowledge.
And others we screw up, but I think
we come close. But we still keep
the knowledge for people who want to go to trivia night are probably fairly bright to begin with those kinds of facts.
Probably, yeah.
So it's a self-selective thing.
Yeah, I've been studying encyclopedias online, and you've been already trying to forecast what questions might be asked.
Yeah, just because these things bug me, that's all.
Well, we had a good one, the leading rebounder in NBA history.
No, but what led me to that was they keep asking questions about career leaders in NBA statistics, and they did steals and assists. I'm thinking, okay, what's the next one? They're probably going to do rebounds. So I looked that one up. It's Wilt Chamberlain.
Right. So how can we improve that? We keep on getting second place finishes. I think we do quite well, even though it's kind of loud. It's hard to communicate.
Well, it would help if you stop coming.
What is the noise in the background? I don't.
Chairs.
Oh, chairs. Sorry. No, I'm the one who kind of arrange. I'm like the father. I'm like kind of like not the godfather, the father. How about arrange and spear this new?
And sometimes you have to leave the father.
I find it intellectually stimulating though to dig into your brain, because when you do read a lot, and then have to find these facts in a moment. And if you're able to do it and not have that brain fart.
They don't have that many questions that I consider to be good trivia questions where you have to think and connect a few dots. Some of the questions are very awkwardly written. Some of them are just, everybody knows that. And others,
process of elimination.
One of the charms of it is that when you have a big group of people, there might be only one person who knows a certain factoid. And so having that larger group, you're not going to be able to do it with like 3 smart people who know a lot. You're going to need a larger group to draw from.
It's more than being smart. It's being able to calm down, access information in a pretty time-sensitive manner, and then spit it out, which sometimes is difficult. And
also, you have to come to consensus. You've got a group of people, and everybody wants to participate. So how do you decide? And you're writing these things on a piece of paper,
right.
and how, as a group, you come to make decisions. Sometimes it gets away from you.
Yeah, it does. And I kind of like, even that's fun. They're like, you're knowing, because it's like that itch you can't scratch. You're finding it. You want to know it and everything. And also, I'm proud of myself. Remember the question?
You're still squeaking your chair, by the way.
Remember the question about what state capital had the last 4 letters of the state it represents.
And it took us a while because they do 10 questions at a time, and if you don't get one, you can wait a few minutes while they do the other questions and then come up with it. And I'll give you full credit. I mean, I'm going through all 50 states, and it's the kind of thing, okay, is there anything in there that's going to lead me in one direction? No, it's not geographical, but right. You got it, Adam.
Well, thank God to Miss Sullivan, second grade Little Brook school teacher. We had to learn, memorize our times tables, addition, and state capitals.
But the real draw for me, you're making noise again.
This damn chair.
Yeah, it's the interactions that you have socially within your group, and then during the downtime when the guy running it is collating and judging the scores for each round, you've got 10 minutes at least to go around and circulate and talk to other teams.
Find like-minded people.
Yeah, people you might have known before, or it's convivial in that there's a natural kind of icebreaker. And while the trivia itself is trivial, but nobody's showing up there every Tuesday night to the IVN to talk about literature that they just read.
You're right, though. They don't go deep, and I guess they can. They have to be general. You don't have deep literature questions or did Kafka discuss this on this?
Yeah, well, that's one thing. There's a direction to the questions where, okay, they don't ask certain prime categories that would wind up on Jeopardy, because Jeopardy is always my reference point. And Jeopardy has its own, way, with things that they like to focus on.
Right. But Jeopardy is, you'd be in Jeopardy for Jeopardy, because it can get you pretty deep, and you have to answer the question in what is.
What immediately, here you have a little more, but I've run, it's, to me, it's a really good party.
Right.
And there's drinking involved. And,
I think drinking helps.
It helps.
It helps. And my Spanish gets better.
And there's a lot of people running around, and eventually, if they're showing up every time, and a lot of them are return teams, you eventually get to talk to and meet a lot of different people, and which is healthy.
Well, I think also we're the most physically attractive. I'm pretty shallow. Some of those people we could beat up in a fight. We're not even that tough. There's some really kind of nerdy people.
You should go in your Halloween costume every time.
So one of our members did. What about cheating though? My wife thinks it's now. She might be accused of occasionally hitting that Google information brain cell thing.
It's disturbing.
But do you think other people would cheat? I wonder if I don't know.
There's accusations, but I mean, it violates the spirit.
I would hope so. I would think not. Getting back to that, what we're going to, with trivia night and everything. So you think we're going to continue? How long is that going to continue with our crowd? Do you think it's just going to go naturally?
I think that the people that we have are into it for the same reasons that I said. I mean, it's about the social interaction. You have this thing every week where you go out, and it's kind of a blast for me.
And it's a team thing too. It's everything.
Yeah, and there's interaction, and so it's not, it's something you look forward to.
And it's joking.
Believe it or not, for me, it's the highlight of the week. I mean, because you're just talking to all these different people. I mean, it gets you going. And it's something that in life things happen, and you wind up not having as many social interactions. Then you find a way that's guaranteed to give you tons of them every week. I like that.
That's a segue to this. It's something I have to admit, I do admire you if you do want to discuss your health crisis.
Sure.
What do you call it? Health crisis? Not health crisis.
It's ongoing. Yeah.
It's gone. You have, even though sometimes I think I saw you would be cynical in this, you have met this with the spirit of optimism, forthrightness, with the same time you're not mawkish and you're not in denial, but you're like living in the moment. How do you do it? I would be aware. I might shoot myself. I don't know.
Well, first of all, I have pancreatic cancer. I've done
the big C.
Chemo 3 times. I've done radiation. I'm currently on an immunotherapy trial, clinical trial.
And this has been going on for 2 years. It's a grind.
Yeah, a little more than 2 years. And, pancreatic, if you know anything about it, it's the worst cancer you can get. It's a 95% kill rate after 5 years. So I don't get too high or too low about anything. There's been times when things, you can have a bunch of things go right, but if you have one thing go wrong when you have pancreatic, that's trouble. And at times I have had things go wrong, and it's, if you're a human being, it's going to get to you. It doesn't.
I never see that though. In private moments, you have to spare. I mean, I don't know.
Not to spare, but it's like, okay, I better start doing the things right away that I need to do before I die. It's like, because once it goes south, you might not be able to do those things. I just clean up my junk. I've got all these paintings sitting around that, okay, I need to collate them and blah, 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 that work that I need to do. And I better get on it if I'm going to be dead in a year, because that, there is that possibility, Yeah,
but you're so proud. I mean, you're dealing with this. I think it's affecting your other people close to you worse than it's affecting you, I think.
There is that factor where you have to kind of manage situations with your immediate family members who might be having their own emotional reactions, because these things are beyond their control. Now, pro tip, it's also beyond my control. Cancer has a mind of its own. And
you've also taken on the bet. You really fight this, for lack of a better word. You're getting the best help possible.
Well, there's part of your control. Okay, where you live. We're in New Jersey. We have access to very good local people. And then also Philadelphia and New York, we can have access to their hospitals, right, which are world class.
Right, you're lucky. So, but you're maximizing every advantage you have, and you're learning as you go, and you're sharing what you've learned and what you don't want. You don't want other mistakes that other people might have made. You said there was a major mistake.
Yeah, well, there's a we're all familiar with cancer. We know people have it, but not that many people have been through the things you have to negotiate when you actually have it. And so, I like to have I've written an essay, or I'm very open with people about, okay, you do this is what's going to happen, and then you might want to do this, because you can anticipate things, so you won't be just scratching your head, wondering why.
Right. At the beginning, you learn to cut through the BS, fight with your insurance companies, find the right doctor, right?
Different people want to make different decisions about being public. I have a good friend with prostate cancer, and he kept it to himself, but it's a cancer that is absolutely curable. But mine being pancreatic, it was going to affect my life greatly. So, either, I could tell certain people I knew, but just keep it completely away from like Facebook people. It was going to be such a central thing in my life. I thought, okay, I should make it public. Now, one benefit from that is that, people like to, give you advice or, their perspective, and people come out of the woodwork for that. And one of those was just, recommendations for local oncologists.
Right.
So I was able to find a very good local oncologist because of those recommendations. I did not anticipate that, but that was a benefit of going public with it on Facebook.
And also you shared, I read your posts, they're educational, it's kind of yeah. And that you don't get Marcus, you don't ask for prayers, you don't ask, for pity, you just kind of.
No, I treat it, I write dispassionately.
Yeah, like a journalist.
I'm not completely cold, but, I'm not giving you my emotional roller coaster, because I don't really have one. I go about it analytically.
Right. So you're still focusing on, we went to the Harvard football game, and I got to agree with you. I read just Harvard played Princeton and went to 5 overtimes. There were some calls that weren't against Princeton, Harvard in the football game. And also, you pointed out quite rightly, no one was explaining, if I can explain this quickly, we have some time. They would do an overtime in the Princeton-Harvard game, and they changed the rules in college football with overtime. You have 2 possessions where both teams try to score, kick a field goal. If someone doesn't score and someone scores, and like it's first, top of the inning, bottom of the inning. They're still tied. In the third session, they go for 2 points. But if you
no, they go for a touchdown. They put the ball on the 3-yard line.
No, I thought it was 2 points. No, it's only worth 2 points.
Well, okay. But if you get that, and the other team, if you succeed and the other team doesn't, you win. But you only get 1 down, okay? And that's very different from getting the ball. One and out. So that's different from getting the ball to 25
and
having
the first 2 possessions.
Which the way it has been for a few years, and getting, where you can make first downs. You have 4 downs, you can get another first down. On this, it's just 1 shot at the end zone.
Right.
And this was not even explained in the slightest. It was the first time either Adam or I had ever seen that.
And we kind of follow sports.
And what really made it the most ridiculous game ever was that, Princeton failed in their conversion. So Harvard had the ball. If they score a touchdown, the game is over. They scored a touchdown. There's no flag. The Harvard team all went out to the center of the field to celebrate. And this is a big thing because
they're both undefeated.
They were both undefeated. And whoever wins is very most likely the Ivy League winner.
In the driving seat.
Yeah, very most likely, I said. And so Harvard is celebrating for a good 3 or 4 minutes. They're, everyone's on the field, and the PA guy says, the play's under further review. What could it be under review for? So then they say the play didn't happen because the Princeton coach had called timeout. Before the play. So no play. They had to do it over. They again score a touchdown, except this was a real flag. We're for offensive pass. And so and then they failed. And then I think they traded not making, and then Princeton scored on a play that,
an amazing catch.
Adam and I were only about 20 yards from it. And it was a very good, where Princeton quarterback scrambled, Princeton receiver comes around the Harvard guy. And
5'9".
And the guy's short on the other guy, and boom, gets it. Woo! Right. So Harvard's got 1 chance to score, and they throw a pass to a guy on about the 1-yard line. Adam's angle was slightly different from mine, and he got it on videotape.
On my YouTube channel.
The Princeton defender really did commit defensive pass interference. The referees missed it. It was, it was pass interference.
Was it no call? I don't know.
Yeah, so that determined the game, okay? So we go home, we're thinking this is really the most ridiculous thing ever. And then there's this notice that goes up
the next day,
Sunday, that the whether the team called a timeout or not, legally, under their rules, it's not reviewable.
Right.
They never should have reviewed
and negated the
whether
blood.
Princeton had called the timeout or
There
not. It
wasn't
was
even-
not reviewable
Right.
according to the law, the rule
Yeah.
of the Ivy League.
Right.
So Harvard got hosed.
Big time.
Yeah.
And now they're 6-1. I feel, they've been working all year for that. I mean, hard classes.
I wound up feeling bad for Harvard, or not good for Princeton.
Yeah, and we root for Princeton. But I'm still going to go to the Yale game probably.
Oh, yeah.
Be undefeated, and everything. But that leads to your health and everything. How's it going in Philly though? You're in you got accepted to a trial.
Yeah.
You're going to be a medical journal now or something, or your case?
No, I'm
Case
just
number?
I'm like, there's 80 people in the trial that I'm in. I was the last person to gain admittance. The reason why I'm there is that, with these things, you've only got, in pancreatic, there's only maybe 2 chemotherapies that are available to you. And eventually either your cancer eventually evolves to make itself immune to that chemotherapy. And then what was happening to me was I kept doing the same chemotherapy, Gemzar, and it starts to really mess up your body. It makes you feel worse and worse, but also like your thyroid numbers go off, your liver numbers go off, and I mean in the red by a crazy amount, because your blood tests every week here, and they're testing for a bunch of different things to see, okay, how is your body doing? And it was getting to me. And so just as a precaution, I, contacted UPenn and asked, is there anything you can do for me? And they said, yeah. So, it was time for me to go to a specialist. So, I had previously been told that I was not a candidate for any kind of immunotherapy.
You were locked out from that. So
Yeah, I was told, you see, but the specialist at UPenn knows more than your local person about your particular cancer. My local guy, he's very good, but he's not a pancreatic specialist.
Right.
So he doesn't have the, so your specialist is going to not only know things that your local guy doesn't, but they're going to have access to things that your local guy has never heard of.
Oh yeah. And they write the book on these new therapies that 99% of the doctors haven't heard of. A friend of mine, she had breast cancer. She went to Helene Fold in Trenton or something. Then they made some egregious mistakes besides not being Sloan Kettering. She went to Sloan Kettering. Her doctor was the expert on the type of cancer she had. She actually wrote the book on what kind of treatments to have, and also did research for a new treatment for the type of breast cancer she had. She's fully cured. Well, not full, but she's been in remission now for 10 years. It's amazing. If she'd been at Sloan Kettering, she might be, her husband might be a widow for 10 years now. It's crazy. How the difference in healthcare and the difference in quality.
Well, with my therapy, it's a little bit different from classic immunotherapy. I am taking what they call IPPY, IPPY. That's the standard immunotherapy drug. It stimulates your immune system to go into overdrive. Now, but I'm also taking it. Yeah, but this is the real workload for my therapy is this stuff called PARP inhibitor pills. And what they do is they prevent damaged cancer cells from repairing themselves. Now, I don't know exactly how this works at a molecular level. And I was thinking about this week, I'm going to have to ask the doctors, because, the molecules have to go in there. They have to, get into the cancer cells and then disable them. And this is all done with, the shape of those, PARP molecules. And they've got to sort of know how to get, they've got to be, have their positives and negatives set up so that they get inside the membrane of that cancer cell. And then it's got to go in there and find the nucleus and basically gunk it up so that it can't repair itself. How does that work at a molecular level? I don't know if they know, but I certainly don't.
It's just how it works. So many levels. Can we go to voices from the crowd? This is so bright. You're like Frank Zappa, so bright, but less cynical today. And everything.
I'm sorry that I can't return the compliment.
Okay, but anyway, okay, this is voices from the crowd. This is people who really don't know you, might know you, and I told them you're going to be on. You kind of answered this, but maybe you can give a little more information. What's your relationship with time and morality now? You actually say you're.
What?
What is your relationship? This is what the person said. I just copied it down.
With time and
time versus morality.
I'm not calling.
Scam lately.
Okay, you want to talk about time? I do. My reading these days is exclusively science. So time does come up in physics. And one of the best books I read was called The Big Bang by Simon Singh. And, you know, when you go back to, you know, the very, very early beginning of, you know, of this universe, and what could have possibly happened before this universe.
That's
There's
too
all
deep for
the
me.
speculations that, you know, I'm not a physicist and I can't judge. So I do think about time, and there's, you know, I don't thoroughly understand these things, you know, as a non-physicist. So yeah.
But what about your own time? Like you said, you do think about things. I might not be here for a year. In a year, I got to do this or this or that. Or do you get jealously guard your time? You don't want to waste it. Do you think that way, or you just go about your life? And
no,
you're talking to me. That could be a waste.
I like being oblivious, where I act as if, well, I'm not going to die, and I just mess around doing what I do.
I think
I have limited energy. I mean, there's a side effect from this stuff that, you know, you get tired. I lately, I mean, this stuff is like I have a touch of Alzheimer's. You know, your short-term memory gets a little foggy, and you know, it's just the way it is. You have to fight it. But you know, I say when I take pills, and then 5 minutes later, I can't remember if I took the damn pill or not. So I've got to be methodical, you know, that I know that I took the pill.
Oh my gosh, I'm not worried about getting a little gray.
Yeah, but I do try to get reading done every day. I try to get out in the house and you know, just bicycle, you know, to have that. You know, I try to be well rounded that way.
You don't think about me and your will or anything. Just asking. Okay, what about? Okay, I don't want to get too morbid. You can tell me to shut up. Someone asked, Kurt, you're kind of a local legend in town. Anyone who's grown up here knows you. Do you have a legacy? What would you want people to say about you? You know, afterward. I mean, I think everyone thinks about their legacy, whether they're sick or not. Do you care if there's a legacy?
That's not for me to determine. You know, people can think whatever they want to think. I mean, there's this thing where, you know, if you totally don't care what other people think, then you might be a jerk.
Yeah, you need.
But then again, if you care too much, that's the wrong way to go. So where's the point, you know? And because we're all flawed human beings, and we all say and do stupid things at times that, you know, could maybe rub somebody the wrong way. Or there's people out there that get rubbed the wrong way by anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's so much politics that nowadays, if you don't have the correct opinions on things,
or the pronoun,
you are a Nazi.
Right,
yeah, and you can legitimately disagree with them, but they're going to be angry at you. So you're going to, you know, so if you engage with people at all, you're going to piss them off. So, you know, how to avoid that? Well, don't engage with people. I don't want to do that, you know, so you have to have a thick skin.
Right. I mean, the whole legacy, I think about it too. I think more it's vanity too. You want to feel that you left some imprint on human beings. Maybe that's why we have tombstones, so people can have little shrines to themselves. I don't know, but you know, we lived a lot. I guess it's a part of that time thing. What are we here for? You know? Well,
the thing with time is that, you know, it is inevitable, and you know, after we die, 100 years will pass, and you might,
people won't know us.
Yeah, and nobody's going to know a damn about you, because, you know, you're not Abraham Lincoln, and that's just the way it is, and we have to accept that, and just live in our moment.
That sucks. I don't like that. Okay, another thing.
I think it might be good if you were entirely forgotten.
Okay, this is my wife.
Could you make it happen now?
This is my wife. We've been talking about, again, we're looking at, we'll end with this, LL Bean. Now, this is about times are changing and maybe too extreme. In the old days, I remember LL Bean, you thought all of America was blonde and skinny and waspy women. Now, I don't know what, it's like, it's a multicolored rainbow of the world. And then they have, my wife thinks this is wrong. No, not her. Just because she's Oriental, it doesn't make it wrong. Plus size models. I don't think this is that bad. Is this too wokey? I don't know if you can see this.
No, that's so fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think, I think you both and I have a BS meter when it comes to woke, and we don't like it, but who cares?
I mean, there's a thing with television ads where I think they're virtue signaling too much. You know, if you
everyone's biracial or gay, you mean?
No, I would say 2/3 of the people in television advertising are black, and blacks are 13% of the population. Right. Generously, 1 out of 8 people. There's more Hispanics than there are black people. Yeah. But you know, if you were from Mars and wanted to know, well, what's the population of the United States like? What is it composed of? You would think majority black, and also you would think from the advertisements that white males are assholes. You know, that's how they're portrayed.
But you don't care about what.
But you know, so what offends me is the whole notion that the most important thing about you is what group you identify with. And not you know, your individual merit.
And if I can get down to a more practical political level, not that people always listen to that, even in this town, I ran for office, people go off about changing names and everything. When you're more like in the local schools, I think you should focus on the achievement gap, special ed issues, mold in the buildings, and not what's the goddamn name. Oh my God. And it becomes some holy grail about changing names.
Well, there are a bunch of issues that you like to focus on that other people just want to,
maybe that's, so sometimes
they want to sweep it under the rug.
That's what I mean. Some of this, let's be honest, some of this virtue signaling has been politicized and people use it for ulterior motives.
Oh yeah, you can clobber people with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of what the whole, the radical trans movement. I think probably most trans people are totally object to that stuff. Where you get clobbered if you don't agree with every part of their ideology. If you don't come up and say trans women are women, then you are a horrible person. When there's legitimate grounds for saying trans women are trans women, and women are women. There's no, and you can treat everyone with respect as individuals and still say that. But no, you're a transphobe. You're a horrible person, a bigot.
No, you basically came from hell and you're broken glass and you want to stick it into people's face. That's who you are.
And in social media,
it's so simplistic too. These are supposedly bright people.
The people who use that to beat you over the head. They're not that many of them, but they sure are good at getting publicity.
We have 8 minutes left. Yeah, they vocalize it too. The new Puritans, and they also run with the herd, especially with their friends. I see that in this town. They're afraid to go against one nuance of the religion of this PC insanity because then they might be ostracized. It's like, who F you? I wouldn't want to.
It's a very weird thing. And you have to fight it. And
no, it's sinister.
It's easy for me to, even okay, it's easy for me to say stuff because I'm not working no more. But then again, on Facebook, I self-censor all the time because I've got a lot of liberal-minded, left-minded friends who would disown me if I gave my true analytical feelings about a lot of stuff.
Cotton mather, though. They lose their brain. They become irrational, and you're evil. Yeah.
I don't engage in those issues because I know it's not going to work.
But they're not rational. They're simplistic religion. Babble.
And also
you're sinister. You try to censor. I don't like you.
Oh my God! I didn't know you were a racist.
I didn't know you left your brain just to please some social media Puritan god of yours. They're like the Puritans. They're looking for the devil every place, but it's sinister, and they want to shut people up.
If you stop with you see, every time you do that,
I'm getting excited.
I'm making no noise whatsoever, and you're just blah, 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 and there's no learning curve with you. Well, you are a noise phobe.
I don't know. I need a better chair. This is an antique chair.
How about thinking about this beforehand, before you start your podcast? A little quality control.
You're being a little intolerant now.
I'm sorry. I suggested you use intelligence.
I'm counting these people in the LL Bean, though. It's like, okay, we have the white guy, kind of white. That's one.
If you want to do that kind of thing, you just watch television ads. Okay, just watch television ads.
Okay, one black, one white. It's the rainbow. Two blacks. Older man, I guess you can still knock on old people though. I guess we're getting up there. You can knock on. That's what the one group.
No, older white men, they're the devil.
You can knock on them. What's he? Yuppie? Okay, yuppie. That's why I go to Sierra Trading Post though, because it's cheaper. I am half Jewish, so it's cheaper. I like to think it's cheaper. Woman. Okay, what is she? This is kind of interracial, Latina.
Your mother's not Jewish?
Not that I know of. I'm culturally Baptist.
No.
My housekeeper though too. Three Oriental.
Because I did your genealogy. I thought both sides were. I mean, aren't there Jewish people on both sides?
Yeah. But I'm culturally Baptist. Okay, she's not even that. I don't mind.
I'll give the LL Bean catalog a pass. You could pick up much worse, publications or media advertisements.
As long as they're attractive.
Virtue signaling.
As long as they're attractive. I'm going to get people mad now. As long as they're attractive looking.
This, by the way, this LL Bean catalog is masturbation material.
And stuff. So we have, in our final couple of minutes, we'll be talking to Kurt Tazelaar on my new 2.0 show. We're in my lovely kitchen. Hopefully this is going to work out. Hopefully my producer, Pat McDonald, can make sure the sound works.
Hopefully he edits out all your squeaks.
Well, we learned. I should have changed the chair mid-sentence and everything, and the barking.
You don't have a learning curve.
And stuff. And I don't know. I don't really much else to say. I think my neurosis has come out.
What a shock. You don't have things to say. I could have told you that before this whole thing started.
No, I don't force the issue, and so I just wish I could do this every day. My natural talent could come out. We could read the news. Today we looked at LL Bean. But this has been, again, anything else you want to say before we go?
No.
Okay. And I apologize for everything except the inflammatory comments. Again, you can check.
I apologize for being on the show.
I at least jealous I have more hair than you do. That's always been a bugaboo about you.
This, because of the chemo, it turned it all white, and it was actually grew back after the first chemo. But with this last chemo, it's like, it doesn't grow back. It's like, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
It makes me look sickly. So yeah, I tend to wear a hat in public, not because I'm embarrassed. It's just, okay, I don't want to have people think, oh, there's a guy over there dying,
I don't think they think that. It's kind of a cue ball, something like a Batman.
It's weird looking. It's
Batman villain.
It's weird looking.
Okay, this has been Breezin with the Bierman, the podcast. Again, check us out on New Pod City, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbeam, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
Facebook jail,
LinkedIn, Stitcher, Amazon, Princeton Now Media Group, Breezin with Bierman Facebook and Instagram page. And I don't think Mark Zuckerberg ever blinks. That's another weird thing about him. If you watch him, I don't think he blinks. It's really weird. It's weird.
He lives in virtual reality.
Well, I wish I had his money though. Okay, we'll be back for another interesting episode in a week. See you then.